Welcome to the Sounds of Care podcast. I'm Andy, and I'm joined here with Anne. Anne, how are you?
Good. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So Anne is here with her daughter, Emily, and Emily right now is basically having her first real experience with the house, right? Because when she was here initially, she was, 1 year old?
Yep, she was a little bit over 1 year old. She was only here for a short time, probably half an hour to an hour, to come pick out a toy, and she has no recollection of it whatsoever.
It was funny to see her walk in for the first time, and her eyes just lit up.
Yeah.
And she hasn't seen anything yet. I think we're going to go around later and kind of explore. But
yeah, I mean, it's totally different from what I remember too. Parts of it are very different from what I remember as well, but it's brand new to her. So yeah, that was kind of fun to see, kind of surreal to see.
The expansion wasn't here when you were here
No,
first,
no,
right?
there wasn't the expansion. We heard about it when it was going to be done, but we weren't here anymore at that point. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, why don't we get into your story so everybody has a little bit of context as to what we're talking about. Tell us a little bit about, Emily, first and foremost, and what happened. I know you mentioned it was a blizzard, if we're setting the scene.
Yes.
It was a blizzard.
Yes,
and
so
go ahead.
In 2018, everyone probably remembers, if they were around the area, there was a terrible blizzard in April that year. We got, up in Oshkosh, we got a foot of snow. We went in to have her Thursday morning on the 12th, and by the time she was actually born on the 13th, we had gotten a foot of snow overnight. It was totally clear when we went in. But Emily was born after, of course, a long labor and an emergency C-section, which was always fun, I'm sure. But she was born, and they pretty quickly realized that she had a combination of undetected, undiagnosed heart defects, and that changed things pretty quickly for us. We had a lot of family come to the hospital to meet her. We said, we're going to go get a C-section, so you can be here at this time and come meet her. And I only got to meet her for about 5 seconds in the operating room. And by the time I got back to our room, she was already in the nursery, and my husband was kind of pacing the room. He said, they noticed something. They just took her back. It's going to be fine. And then pretty quickly, things started happening. They called in the pediatrician on call, and he came in to tell us, her oxygen's a little low. I think we're going to do a little echo. And he happened to have trained with some doctors at Children's. So he
Your
was,
husband?
Sorry, no, the pediatrician they called in. No, not my husband. The doctor who came in had trained with some doctors at Children's, and he said, my mentor taught me some things to look for. And so he was able to really quickly identify that there was something pretty wrong. So her oxygen saturations just weren't coming up the way they're supposed to, and pretty quickly they came and told us that she was going to have to be transported, and because of the blizzard, she was not able to go in the helicopter, that Children's was going to send up an ambulance from Milwaukee in the blizzard to get her and then drive her back down in the blizzard, and it was all just, a lot of overwhelming information to get. In the meantime, a lot of the family could go see her in the nursery, but I actually wasn't able to go in there at all and see her because I just had a C-section.
How long were you basically bedridden from the C-section?
So she ended up being born Friday night. I finally got out of the hospital Sunday, and she came down here right away Friday night. And so my husband and his brother, who had come up from Madison to meet Emily when we thought things were going to go normally, they ended up following the ambulance down here in the blizzard in the middle of the night. And he was kind of trying to give me updates from down here, but it was, he was pretty overwhelmed by all the information as well. So I had friends and family obviously coming to visit me up in Oshkosh at the hospital while we were waiting. But the snow was still so bad on Sunday when I got out that no one would drive me down here until Monday after the roads had been cleared a little bit. So it was just a really strange time. I was very much in a fog through all of it. I kind of couldn't believe any of it was happening. And my husband would call sometimes, and he'd put a doctor on the phone and give me some updates on her, but they weren't really clear on her diagnosis yet either at that point. So I finally got down on Monday, and I just remember getting up to the NICU and walking into the room, and it just kind of fell apart because it was all, I finally got to meet her, but also it was very surreal what was going on. And
The
and then
different types of emotions, I can't even imagine.
yeah, there was a lot. It was just, I mean, I felt like I had to catch up a lot because I hadn't spent any time with her, and I really hadn't talked to the doctors and didn't know what was going on. And we had packed a bag with all the clothes that we thought we'd bring her home from the hospital in and all that stuff. And I got here, and we hadn't thought to send those with him when he came down here following the ambulance. So she was in, just like a donated onesie, and it was none of it had gone to plan. None of it was what we expected, and it was obviously very overwhelming at the time, but also just sort of so. I know I keep using the word surreal, but it really was. You just can't really believe that sort of thing is happening to you, and so it's almost like a movie I saw. It's almost like it didn't happen to me. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, you were going through so many intense, emotions, and two, the physical aspect
Yes.
of going through a C-section.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
and then all of us getting transported down, basically post-snowstorm to Children's.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was just the first couple days of her life, and it was a lot for everybody. But
Yeah.
I am really grateful that we have a very large support system with our families who are nearby. My brother was the one who finally was like, you know what, I'm going to break you out of there and drive you to Milwaukee if you need to go. And he did. He brought me and my mom down together. And the roads were still terrible, but he didn't care. And I will always love him for that.
You got to love that in Wisconsin. You have to grow up learning how to drive in the
Yes.
snow. Whatever
Yep.
comes your way,
Yep.
you better know what you're doing.
Yep,
It sounds
you have
like you
to.
did.
Sometimes in an emergency, sometimes just, to go to a Brewer game. You have to know how to drive in snow.
So you met Emily for the first time. You were at the hospital with her. You were with family. At what point did the house come into play, the Ronald McDonald House? You said, oh, this is available to us. Wow.
Yeah, so this is not, I guess I knew sort of what Ronald McDonald House was, vaguely. I had seen the donation boxes. I had heard about it a little bit, but I really didn't know anything about it. And I think on my husband's second night, he got connected with someone at the hospital. I don't know we really can't recall who it was. I asked him, and he can't remember either if it was a social worker or who it was. But someone came in and said, hey, this guy needs a bed. This guy needs somewhere to sleep, because he was just sleeping in Emily's room. And he's 6'4" also, so there are
Well,
no
there you
hospital
go.
couches or chairs that fit him. And they said, we're going to try and get you set up with Ronald McDonald House. And I remember him calling me and telling me that, and I didn't really process what he was saying. But they had told him, when your wife gets down here, we've got your name in the system. I don't really know how it all happened, but we've got your name in the system. Head over there when she gets here. So that Monday when I came down, after we were in the NICU with her for quite a while, and we decided that night to just make our way over here. But I couldn't walk, so he was pushing me in a wheelchair, and we're crossing this. It's snowing again, of course. We're crossing this, the walkway over the road, and we really didn't know where to go or what to do. And I just remember feeling like he's pushing me in this wheelchair. I'm recovering from a C-section and just sort of processing all this information. And I was like, I don't think it would be possible to feel worse than this ever. It was a pretty low moment. And we got here and we had some confusion with how to check in, and I don't know, I was just feeling so like, I know this sounds really strange, but I was just really kind of angry about all of it. Like, here were these people trying to help us, trying to give us somewhere to stay, and I was like, I'm not a person who needs this. This doesn't happen. Like, and I know that sounds terrible, but like, you just don't think that you're ever going to be in a position where you need something like this. And I was just so resentful that it was happening at all. And I mean, in hindsight, obviously, I look at it very, very differently, but I remember feeling pretty angry at the time about it. So,
Well, you're living a nightmare,
Yeah.
right? I mean, was it a span of how many days was it from birth to arriving at the house?
from when she was born to getting to the house was 4 days.
Longest 4 days of your life.
Longest 4 days of my life, no question. Yeah, there was obviously not a lot of sleeping in there anyway for both medical reasons and just emotional reasons. I would waffle between just being like really like just crying all the time and being like, this isn't happening.
Well, I don't
it
think
was
the
a lot.
strongest person could ever keep a smile on their face with
Yeah.
something like this happening.
No.
So, so you arrive at the house, and this place, clearly now, it's a pretty magical place.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like? Because I know obviously when you arrive, you're kind of like, there's a lot going through my mind. I just want to be somewhere. I want a home base.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get through this. What was that initial interaction like?
I remember really vividly, we were sitting in the office, I'm assuming with just the house manager, because I think we came pretty late at night. It was like 10 or after. And we were sitting in the office, and she was kind of talking through questions with us just to get us registered. And I was sort of foggy, and my husband was doing most of the talking, which is a really very good thing. I'm really grateful he did that. And I remember I could see her kind of processing, like, these people have been through it. Like, this is, she never really said it out loud, but like now in hindsight, I know, like, she gave us a room with like a king bed, and she gave us, it was a really nice space that allowed us to sort of, I don't know, feel, like you said, sort of a little bit of a home base a little bit. At the time, I don't know that I felt that way about it, but I was also trying to pump. I was trying to do all of the things that you have to do after you give birth too. And I sensed that she was like, they really need the best that I can give them right now. And she was really kind to us. And I remember not really being able to answer all the questions, and just sort of thinking, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be doing this, but also kind of knowing, like, okay, this is the next step, this is what we do now, we're staying here. And I'm really grateful to her, because she just sort of helped us through the process without needing much from us, which was really nice. But yeah, it was still pretty, it was a very difficult time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's kind of nice though, to have somebody be like, all right, listen, you don't need to think about anything. Yeah. We're just going to take care of it for you. We're going to get you settled. Yeah. And you go from there. So how many days did you end up staying at the house throughout the whole process?
That visit, Emily was in the NICU actually, now that I think about it, we were in the NICU for about 10 days. Then we got sent home. They were really hopeful that she would thrive at home on oxygen. And it turned out that didn't happen at all. So we were back, actually, I think within 3 days. And but we knew what to do then. We knew, okay, we need to, call the house, see if we can get a room. So we were there for about 10 days the first time, and then that second time, about 2 more weeks after that. She had a small procedure done, and that eventually enabled her to actually go home and thrive and grow while they waited for a bigger surgery. So it was about 3 weeks that first time. And that was, by the time we left here, we were kind of pros. Like, at first, we had no idea how to use the kitchens and do all that stuff, and we just kind of came and went. We ate all our food across the street. We just went to the cafeteria, and then after a little while, we realized, okay, there are a lot more benefits here. There are a lot more things for us, that we need to sort of learn how to do at the house. And we started doing laundry. We started, doing all that stuff, and that was all. It was just the little things that this place takes care of and makes you not really have to think about, that you don't really realize until after the fact. Like, I can't imagine if I had to find a laundromat and do my laundry, or if there weren't just sort of snacks that I could just grab and not think about, because you're really not thinking like, oh, I need to make a meal for myself, or I need to go somewhere and get food. We didn't really eat very much or sleep very much. We were just kind of trying to keep ourselves together. And so having those things here were really essential to us getting through that without losing our minds completely.
This is a very interesting perspective, because normally we'll talk about, okay, what did the kids experience at the house? A lot of people are like, oh, well, this is a magical place for kids, and it definitely is. Oh, but yeah. Emily was here basically one day, right? Yeah. And she was 1 year old?
Yeah, she was 1 year old. So after we finally got to go home for a good long time, she was a part of a monitoring program through Children's. So we knew she would be back for a bigger surgery as she got older, once they thought she was old enough and strong enough for it. And so she was only ever here once after that big surgery. So she was 1 in a few months, and she was recovering from a very difficult surgery that didn't go entirely as planned at the time, and it was a tough recovery for her, and she was really struggling she had just started pulling herself up and almost walking before the surgery, and then getting her back to that after was one of the biggest struggles of our life. It just felt like, it probably was just a few weeks, but it felt like an eternity to try to get her back where she was. And someone over here suggested you should bring her over. We can let her pick out a toy to take home. And even at 1, she knew she loved toys and stuffies. She still very much loves those things. And we thought, let's give it a try. Let's bring her over. So we brought her over across the street, and she was able to pick out a toy and walk around. And we sort of looked into all the other spaces for kids here. But yeah, she was only 1, and we didn't have that much time. They wanted her back at the hospital, of course. But so yeah, we didn't have most of that experience that I think a lot of people have here. So it's, as time passed and we sort of became a part of the extended Ronald McDonald House family, I would read, about all things available to kids here and all of the experiences other families have and how long they spend here too. And I realized there's a lot more here than we ever experienced, but we had exactly what we needed here too, which was great. We never felt a part of any, and we never felt like we were left out of anything because we didn't have a kid here or something. We just felt like everyone here was going through something similar, and that was actually really comforting as well.
That's great. I mean, yeah, I think having all those, it's the small things, right? Mm-hmm. On a daily basis that really just help you get through the day.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you were here that really stands out that you're just like, wow, this place is incredible? I mean, it can be anything,
Yeah.
It can be something as simple as grabbing a lunch to go or an interaction with a family.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, there are several. Again, I think it did take us a while to settle in. And then I think it was really when we came back for Emily's longer surgery when she was a little older that we really felt, okay, because we had been back occasionally for a night here and there as she was growing at home. But when we were back for that longer surgery was when we sort of felt like, okay, we're veterans of this a little bit, you know what I mean? And a couple things really stand out. I remember seeing what I have to imagine was a new family, and because everyone kind of has like a shell-shocked look sometimes when it happens. And we ended up talking to them in the kitchen because it was one of like the volunteer meals. And those are the other things that really stand out to me, is just that people would come here and cook for us. I mean, it was just, so lovely, really, in hindsight, and kind of talking to them, and just we didn't spend much time in the house. We really spent most of our time, obviously, at the hospital. But when we were here, that was one of the conversations I really remember, was like talking to a newer family who was here, and just, you talk about the kid's diagnosis. That's really the main topic of conversation here. But like, you're just connecting to someone who's going through something that most of the world won't experience, but you have and they have, and that really stands out to me. So it's really that, but then it's also like the memory of the meals that the volunteers would cook, or like the groups would come in and cook. And it was just, once I got my head around kind of what it was, I was like, yeah, you're really just making sure we have everything we need. And it was a really cool recollection. Also, there were always donuts in the morning, and that made me so happy. I loved
Gotta love donuts.
I love them. They were always like a day old, which is to me even better, and it was great. I loved it so much. So
there's something about a day old donut.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. They're just better somehow.
They really are.
Yeah.
They
So
really are.
yeah, it was. But it was sort of the little things and the big things. I remember when we were back the last time, really. I think there was like a freezer upstairs with ice cream or something in it. And I remember helping a kid like who was newer and didn't know how to get the ice cream out. And the kid was so excited about it. And it was just like, for kids, they don't really know where they are. And they just know they're in a cool place with like toys and fun things and free ice cream. And, I thought that was such a cute thing. I don't know.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it was cool.
So there's surprises for kids and there's surprises for adults. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's an all-encompassing thing, this house.
It really is. Yeah.
Always something new.
Yeah.
But I mean, it must have been incredible just to have a place to get your mind off of things.
Mm-hmm.
And were you able to do that a little bit, like just escape a little bit? Because I know obviously Emily was still at the hospital.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, were you able to?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I remember when she was first born and I was walking around, I was like a zombie for a long time after that when we were, first down here. And I was walking around thinking, I'm a big like TV person. I watch TV in the background. It's kind of what I do, just whatever. And I remember thinking, that all these shows were like having finales when she was born, and because it was like in the spring. It was so stupid. I remember thinking, I don't really care if I ever watch those. I'm never gonna care about that stuff again. It was a dark place. I think a lot of postpartum moms can probably connect with that. But and then eventually, sort of slowly, I remember being here and being like, well, there's Wi-Fi, I'm in bed, it's 11 o'clock at night, I might as well try and watch the finale of this show or whatever, which seems really silly, but like it was just sort of this return to like this tiny bit of normalcy for me that I
have to remember what show that was.
Oh God, I actually think it might have been Scandal at the time.
Scandal.
Which is really embarrassing.
Oh man, no, it's not embarrassing. I think we've all snuck a couple episodes here and there.
Can't help it. Right?
Yeah, it's just it sucks you in a little bit. So.
Yeah. But it was it was just sort of this. I remember thinking like, okay, maybe I'll get back to myself. Maybe I'll get back to normal, and in whatever that looks like, it was just sort of a place to, when you're at the hospital, you're doing hospital things. You're talking to doctors. You're watching the monitors, you're doing all of that stuff all the time. And it's, you leave there and you know that your child is in great hands, of course, like there's no question there. But when you're there, you can't sit down and watch TV. That's just like not a thing that's gonna happen there. So coming back here and being able to sleep a little bit and really honestly take a shower, that was like a huge thing. Just being able to have my own stuff in a shower that was just for me to use was great because they have family showers. Can't be easy at a hospital. Yeah, no, they have family showers over there, but you really don't want to use them if you don't have to. And so having our own little space was really, really helpful. It's hard to relax and unwind during that kind of situation, but this place allows you to as much as humanly possible. And it's just a little bit like, okay, this is yours. This is your space for whatever you need right now, which was really great. I don't think we turned on the TV once here, though.
I mean, with everything going on, I don't blame you.
No, I don't.
Imagine.
I don't think I even ever tried it. We just, whatever. But it was that doesn't matter. It was nice that it was an option, and with kids, that would be a nice option too. So. I
gotta ask. I mean, did your husband? Does he hit his head on a lot of things? I mean, 6'5" is impressive.
He's a tall guy. He does hit his head on a lot of things. We moved a few years ago, but our old house had a few low doorways in the basement, and he would frequently hit his head on it. But here, the ceilings are very tall. He was very comfortable here.
Yeah, the great room especially. I mean, it is some good clearance.
Yep. He was very comfortable here. Yep.
Well, to bring things, full circle, of course, Emily's here today, so we're going to go walk around with Emily a little bit, show her the house. Now she can really, I think, enjoy it a lot more.
Yes.
She looks super healthy, a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm. A lot of energy.
It's just great to see.
Yeah.
Kind of in closing, what would you say to other families that might be in your situation, just starting, that don't know about the house? What would be your pitch?
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. It's actually something I've thought about a lot because, like I said, when I first came here, I'm almost ashamed to say I felt all those feelings, like resentful and anger and all that stuff. But really, I think they're natural. I couldn't control them. They just were what they were. I think as we've had time to process what we went through, and to be very honest, we will probably be back here. She is not done. There are more procedures in her future. So, but as we've had time to process those first couple years, I think my pitch would be just really be open to whatever this place has to offer, because they've seen so many families come through and have really a better idea of what you're going to need than you probably do yourself. So even if you're feeling, I don't need this, I don't want this, you think you're too proud to do it, which I have to admit, I think I thought I was. You have to just be open to the help that people are offering you, because that's the only thing that's really going to get you through that time. So, I mean, I think in hindsight, this place probably saved our lives in more ways than one by just giving us those basics and letting us stay close to Emily. And I know that's kind of the tagline, right? Keeping families together, but like, it's so true. It's just, if we had to be at a hotel down the street or something, or even at home hours away, I don't know where we'd be. So I think whatever you need, this place probably can give it to you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for telling your story, Anne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come a long way.
Definitely.
And obviously wish Emily and the family the best moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thanks. We're really happy to be back.
What an incredible story Anne had today about her and Emily's journey over the past 6 to 7 years. Emily finally got to experience the house today. She got to see the light bright. They got to go to the butterfly garden. They even got to visit the magic room. It's just an incredible example of what the Ronald McDonald House has to offer. To support families like the one on today's episode, be sure to visit our website. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Sounds of Care podcast.